IPMNation.com.
Here we go. Welcome and thank you for stopping by. There you go. Thank you for stopping by the #1 rated show on IPMNation.com. Episode 248 of the Gong Heard Round the World. You're in to All Natural Being, and we're glad to have you here live on IPMNation.com and Facebook for the video feed with rebroadcasts the top of the hour, every hour, 24 hours a day on iTunes and iHeartRadio. Greetings wherever and however you're joining us here in the Garden of the Mortals, where we're always putting your heart's highest priority top of the list, putting your primal scream front and center in your life. All Natural Being, it's like a battle cry for your brain, because it's time to reboot your robust, to find your ferocious, to outbrutal the brutal in the cut and shuffle that fate deals you on a daily basis, and to bring your own bold, once and for all. Why slight your bright? What has that gotten you? But before we answer that, before we hit it today, hello to my friends here in the United States and Canada, Mexico, the UK, my good friends in Ecuador, China, the Philippines, Brazil, India, Australia, Germany, Italy, France, Turkey, Japan, Singapore, Sweden, Israel, South Africa, and Puerto Rico, Kenya, the Netherlands. Hope I'm not missing your country. Thank you for joining us from all over the globe, wherever you are. It's great to have you with us. I'm truly fired up to be driving your bandwagon, to be your biggest fan, to be avidly you. Someone asked me the other day, what's your thing? Backing yours is the answer, which is just, right? Just shot out of me. So what do you say? We're surfing your psychology to see if it fits you the way it should, because it's time to mortal up. So let's go kick in some doors. And all kinds of things I'd like to be able to talk about this morning. I was thinking, just when it comes to, our new segment we're going to have this morning is Troll Alert. So I was working a little bit on that to figure out here in the feed. We'll come up with exactly how we can do it, but we're going to identify that, or what is it? We're going to be launching that here in a little bit. So I wanted to focus on that, see if what's the best way to be able to use that, because ultimately All Natural Being is about you, right? But come on. Excuse me. You have to admit, it's just plain fun sometimes to mix it up with trolls. Everyone's, it's a troll. It's this or that. But come on, you've got to admit, from time to time, it's just fun. It's thrilling to mix it up with trolls. So we're gonna talk about that, and we're gonna talk about the difference between your true self and your troll self. Right? Because, yes, there are external trolls, and we know what that means, but there's also the inner ability to troll yourself. And is that something that you and I are ever guilty of? We're going to look at that this morning. And we're going to talk a little bit about what it takes to decide once and for all to be committed to dropping your amnesia. Right? And as you know, I've gone through amnesia in a big way, where I have a bracelet and I literally end up places and totally forget where I am. But philosophically, I wonder if that's happening to ever-increasing numbers of us. Do we forget who we are, what we're ultimately capable of, what our natural resources are, right? Do we forget that we're a reservoir of grit? Do we forget that we're the keeper of the mindset? And as the keeper of the mindset, you pretty much get to dictate how your life goes at every turn. Sure, fate will do what it can, as I said in the open, with a cut and shuffle. But you're built to out-brutal the brutal. You're wired to win. As long as you have that commitment to your heart's highest calling. As long as you have a commitment to that still small voice that sits at your core. As long as you're committed to that inner wisdom, you're destined to win. So that's the kind of stuff I'd like to focus on this morning. All right, let's go ahead, Jope. Excuse me. Let's go ahead, jump in the thread, see who's here. And thank you already for the shares. I appreciate it very much. Janelle, good morning. Nice to see you. Hope all's well with you. And congratulations again on your picture. Marcellus, good morning to you. Henry, good morning. Tormenting your trolls. I love it. Thank you all for joining us here at All Natural Being. Tormenting your trolls. I really like that. So what would be an example, if you all have any, what would be an example of how you give in to your inner troll? What would be an example of how you're tormented by your trolls? You ever thought to yourself, oh, I'd like to do A, B, C, or D, and then that little voice pops up and goes, oh, no, you don't want to do that. Oh, no, right? Introduces this sense of fear, this egoic belief that putting your heart's highest priority top of the list is only going to be painful. What is that all about? And if you have examples of that, it makes it really easy to look at it and go, you know what? I don't think I'm going to do that this time. I don't think in this particular time I'm going to give in to my inner troll. Right? If you just say in terms of bandwidth, I don't have time for it today. And we talk all the time about 20-minute victories. What can you do for 1/72nd of your day? One little sliver of your day. What can you do to torment? I love what Henry says, to torment your trolls. Dana Lee, good morning as well. How are you? Hope all's well. We're talking about tormenting your trolls. Right? And I know, especially over on Twitter, right? All you have to do is reach out and call social justice warriors psychopaths. And, right, you're going to get it. But I have to admit, it's a lot of fun. You know what I mean? And Henry and other people that I get, I'm fortunate to be able to hang with, go, yeah, we kind of get that about you. Gordon from tryh2.com. If you haven't had a chance to head over to tryh2.com, learning about the benefits of molecular hydrogen. And they're just studies on top of studies on top of studies that say, you know what, when it comes to doing the heavy lifting for your immune system, the lightest element, the oldest element, the most ubiquitous, ever-present element in the universe, hydrogen, is actually doing the heavy lifting of protecting your immune system. So you may want to head over to tryh2.com, check out. And as I said yesterday in a video, one of the things that I've used to combat the debilitating headaches of three gaping holes being cut into cut into my skull. It comes with a little bit of headache and the benefits that molecular hydrogen have given me in an attempt to get back on top. So you want to head over and check out the good people at tryh2.com if you haven't already. All right, so back to trolls this morning. Sammy Davis Jr., remember the performer? Excuse me, Sammy Davis Jr. I think he was a member of the Rat Pack, if I remember as well. He said, you always have two choices, your commitment or your fear. Your commitment versus your fear. And so what commitment is he talking about? He's talking about the commitment to yourself, the commitment to your reflection in the mirror, not the egoic self, not the satellite office for all the mashugana in the world, right? Because that's what the ego basically is. It's a satellite office. Good morning, Alan. Nice to see your name pop up. Right? That's what the ego is. It's a satellite office, really, of all the mashugana going on in the marketplace. Right? It's just, it's well, if you look like a little post office, it's a what are those little satellite offices in a post office? You have the main post office, but then you got all these little post offices. Well, that's what the personal ego is like. It's just like that little post office. So you can decide ultimately in the moment not to accept that package, not to let the ego buy into that. And just as importantly, in your commitment to yourself, to put your heart's highest priority top of your list, to put your primal scream front and center in your life. And as we talk about all the time in All Natural Being, well, I don't think that's a bad thing. And I can tell you that studying recovery the way I have from these brain surgeries has shown me that the human body is amazing when we just get out of its way. And that ultimately you're amazing when you and we're amazing when we just get out of our own way. And the ego's going to do what it can as that little satellite office. The ego's going to do what it can to continually put up roadblocks, to put up speed bumps, right? You're just going to go, oh, no, you need a traffic control device. But what if you didn't, right? What if you didn't? What if, in the battle between the true self and the troll self, as Henry might say, the spiritual self and the egoic self, Henry says, stop believing are unhappy. Stop fearing. Stop discrimination. Stop separating us. Perhaps just stopping all the negative mantras. Absolutely agreed, Henry. And when it comes to those negative mantras, what are some of yours, right? What are some of the things that you troll yourself over? What are some of the ways that you troll yourself? Maybe that's a better way. All right, I want to do this real quickly because I'm kind of excited about it. But let me do this. So I'd love to get some comments here in the thread as to what we can do, how this segment will work. But this is going to be it. This is our new segment. And I have one. No, maybe not. Please stand by. Please stand by. But that doesn't work either now? Oh, no, there it goes. All right, so here's what we're going to do. I want to do this segment, and I think I have a good one this morning, called Troll Alert, Troll Alert. Of course, the camera's out of focus. Into every life a little rain must fall. Well, there's my troll. Let me just do this real quick. Let me just see if there's something I can't do here that goes. Will that put it? No, that doesn't put it in focus too much. All right, well, we'll work on the focus of it. But you get where I'm going here. That is one ugly troll. So what is it? I'd like to be able to talk in terms of these segments and go, troll alert, troll alert, troll alert. What can we do, right? And I have what I consider to be a really good example this morning of someone just looking to pick a fight. And I know that at times it seems like, hey, let me put it this way. I'd really like to get some help with this particular one because I don't quite understand it. So maybe someone here in the thread. Hi, Abby. Nice to see you as always. Smile pop up. Good morning, John. Good morning, Abby. Again, good morning to Dana Lee and the Henry. The Alan. Janile, good morning. Marcellus, thank you for the shares. So we're talking this morning about the difference between your true self and your troll self. The difference between putting your heart's highest priority, top of your list, or letting the ego run roughshod in your mind. And one of the things that I hope that you could help me with this morning, because I really ddid have a difficult time with this. I don't know if you happen to see, there's some big, I guess it's like a fashion show or something else, where alleged celebrities all get together. And what was it? It was at the Met Gala, it says. And I found it fascinating, this outcry where, and what fascinated me was this concept. It says the headline here is, if the Met Gala, they're talking about how some of these people, one of the trolls specifically, our first troll for the troll alert, one of the first trolls is Piers Morgan. And he talks about, so why is it okay for a bunch of flesh-flashing celebrities to disrespect my religion? So he's asking, he says, why is it okay for flesh-flashing celebrities to disrespect my religion? And here's what you could help me with. If you know, in the Western stories of the Garden of Eden, everything's going great, right? Adam and Eve running around. So all they were flesh flashing. Prior to, where's my piece of fruit? Right? Prior to that fruit, that's all they were flesh flashing. So how is it that it's only after the fall, only perpetuating post-fall, that someone could believe that disrespects? If that has the ability to disrespect, and as he puts in capital letters, my religion, you got yourself a troll. So Piers Morgan, congratulations. Well, I think he should be our first recipient of the Troll Award. But let me ask you, getting back to it for just a second, what is it? about flesh flashing, and then you see all these stories where people are upset. If you see a mom breastfeeding, or now this isn't a call for hedonistic. This isn't a call for every beach to be a nude beach. I'm simply asking a question: how is it that you can tie the term flesh flashing when prior to the fall, that's all we were? And say that disrespects your religion, then you need to look at your religion. If the way someone else dresses disrespects your religion, you don't have a really great relationship with your religion. And you're just trolling the internet looking for something to fight about. He goes on to say, to wear skimpy, provocative dresses. Wait a minute. So prior to the fall, there's nothing wrong with the human body. There's nothing wrong with your all-natural being. There's nothing wrong with any of that. But so, in other words, you're saying that your religion is about the post-fall. So you're saying that God creates something, that the divine created something that was immoral. So our first troll, Piers, comes with the suggestion that if your religion can be disrespected by the way another person dresses, then you need to address your relationship with your religion. A bit too egoic for me. A bit too, let me just pick a fight to pick a fight with all the different things going on in the world. And I think it was just the headline that grabbed me. The flesh flashing that disrespect my religion. So I wanted to talk about that quickly this morning. The ancient word religion means to bind together. And I've gotten into some pretty heated debates with family members, with associates, with friends. But ultimately, the word religion means to bind together. So I think it was a commentary on quantum physics before we knew of particle accelerators and Einstein and quantum mechanics. Before we knew of all of that, it meant to bind together. Well, we are all bound together at the wave. I was reading an article the other day that talked about the composition of the human body. It's like 90% foreign microbes, foreign bacteria, right? So when you think about we bind together with all these different things to make a human body. We bind together with the wave. That ultimately religion is the binding together. Now you could say, it's a binding together of a congregation, but your body is a congregation. Now, I know the ego won't let us permit or won't permit us from believing that from time to time, but our body is a congregation of foreign bacteria, of microbes, of all these different things that go to make, quote, a human being, end quote. That's just a part of our all-natural being. So the dilemma I'm faced with this morning, and maybe you can help me here in the thread, what is it specifically? When you say flesh flashing is disrespectful to your religion, the primal, the natal, the native, the original human beings, that's how they got through the day. They didn't look at it as flesh flashing. They just looked at it as being. So how do we continue to propagate this sense that the handiwork of the divine is in some way immoral? Now, I'm not saying everyone should be running down the street naked, right? It's up to you. What I am saying is, how is that disrespectful? How is that disrespectful to, as he says in the article, to my religion? Then I would look at your relationship, as I said. Henry says, religions have a way of making the natural appear unnatural. Absolutely agreed, Henry. We have lost the true direction and purpose of our existence. Now, if I could just go back, because you know about the Garden of Eden, Adam and Eve, suppose for a moment I could get this flesh-flashing celebrities are disrespecting my religion. Like I should give a crap about Piers Morgan and his my. Talk about the ego. Which reminds me of Janelle saying, oh, you should have a segment called Brawling with Brawdy, because sometimes it's just fun going after these trolls. I got to tell you. Suppose for a moment in the Garden of Eden that God had said, okay, well, I created Adam and Eve, right? Here we go. Created them out of the dirt, out of the clay. And I right away clothed them. Right? I right away decided, I should put some sheepskin, or, that zebra pattern, that looks good. No, really, that looks good on you, right? So God decides, on all the different 7 days, okay, I did this, and I did this, and I did this, and I did this, and before I rest, let me get them a wardrobe. That's what humans need. That's what Adam and Eve need. They need a wardrobe. So let me just work to get them a wardrobe. And then suppose Eve is out going, look at these shoes. Aren't these nice? Or Adam's running around going, I don't know, does this kilt make me look fat? Right? Adam's running around looking at his wardrobe, checking his reflection in the pond, doing everything he can. And then all of a sudden they go, well, this piece of fruit, I think we should. And then the moment they eat the fruit, the moment they decide that they're going to do that, then their clothes just fall off. That post-fall, they lost all the clothes that the divine had made for them. Now, if that's your motif, then I could absolutely say, yes, this flesh flashing, can't have that happen. Right? All that does is remind me of the fall, but that's not the way it unfolds. So let me ask you, what are some of the taboos? What are some of the things that you have within your own philosophy? How do you troll yourself? Because ultimately, everyone, Adam and Eve, flesh flashing, before the fall, not the inverse. So how is it that people, you see, I saw just the other day, I read an article, a lady was thrown off an airline because I guess she inadvertently exposed some portion of herself while she was breastfeeding. And if there's anything more natural than the connection between a mom and feeding her child, I don't know what it could be. I don't know what, I don't, right? The nourishment of the mom to the child, I don't know what could be more all natural than that. But everyone's in an uproar. You can't breastfeed in public. So I would ask you, which story of the Garden of Eden do you believe in? Was everyone running around naked and then the fall? Or were they all running around checking their look, right? And go, what a wardrobe. This is just stunning. And then eat the piece of fruit, clothing just falls away. No. So if your religion is predicated on the fact that it can be disrespected by what another person wears, just check your religion. Check your relationship with the wave. Check the relationship with yourself. And don't buy into this. Don't be trolled by trolls. Because, again, as we started off this morning, there's your true self and your troll self. The explorer, Thor Heyerdahl. Remember Kon-Tiki? Paraphrasing him, it's like, progress is our ability to complicate simplicity. So if it really comes down to it's something that simple, that we can embrace who we naturally are, not all the mashugana of the trolls, not the marketplace trying to sell you your sense of self, but you putting your heart's highest priority, top of your list. Henry says, if the Supreme Being is perfect and does not make mistakes, how can we judge what's right and wrong when it comes to the all-natural being? I'm with you. So I guess in a way, Henry, all-natural being is just looking at religion and going, I'm in. All-natural being is just a way of looking at quantum mechanics and going, I'm in. Right? Ultimately, I'm in. I'm going to bind together with the wave. Now, whether it's the Holy Spirit, H-O-L-Y, or Holy, W-H-O-L-L-Y, Spirit of quantum mechanics, it's one and the same thing. Marcella says, naked, and when they disobey God, they discovered their nakedness. Yeah, but God had no, I would agree, Marcellus, but God saw no evil in it, in and of itself. So if Piers Morgan wants to be offended because of the flesh flashing, then I would have think God would have said something in the very beginning. They discovered their nakedness, right? So they discovered that God, the way God did it, the way the divine did it, the way the wave did it, wasn't to their liking. Can you think of something more egoic than that? That the divine, busy as he or she is running around the universe, right? 6 days, rest on the seventh. Busy as he is. Who are Adam and Eve to pick a fight with the Creator going, oh no, we're naked. We can't stand for that. Who the hell are you? Maybe that's where the term comes from. They banished themselves to a hell. They evicted themselves from the garden by suggesting that the divine didn't know what he was doing. That the divine in some way was flawed. So forget about omniscient, forget about omnipotent, forget about all the words that you clothe yourself in. Ultimately, the statement is that God didn't know what he was doing. God didn't know what she was doing. And can you think of a greater narcissism? Can you think of a greater egoism than to believe that you're smarter than the divine? And sadly, for people like Piers Morgan, sadly, if your relationship with the divine, however you define it, Big Bang, Big Breath, Garden of Eden, Savannas of Africa, however you define it, pulpit or the Petri dish, right? Flowing robes or white lab coats, however you define it, if your relationship with that philosophy can be disrespected by another because of their choice of clothing, then I would just suggest that we need to readdress our relationship with that wave. Marcellus, we are not. I want to make sure that I'm not sure what that means, Marcellus, but thank you for that. So again, I would say that attacking anything that is contrary to your all-natural being is attacking everything about your all-natural being. What are some of the philosophies that the crowd dictates you clothe yourself in? And that to run naked, let's just say, Marcellus, to run naked of those philosophies is a taboo. What are some of the other things that they want you, right? That they want you, the marketplace wants you to clothe yourself in? Well, one could be the belief that you need outside sustenance. Right? Which always makes me go back and you think of our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come, thy will be done, right? Thy will be done. Or 23rd Psalm, the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. Well, what if your all-natural being is going, I don't need any of the baubles, the trinkets, the whatnot. I would absolutely agree with you. Marcellus. We are not smarter than God. And for those people that will stand in opposition and saying, well, you know what, God created Adam and Eve and didn't build for them a wardrobe, not initially. They recognized. So I'm asking, what is it philosophically that we clothe ourselves in? What is it philosophically the ego goes, oh, you better cover that up? What are some of the philosophies that we clothe ourselves in that are chop blocking, that are hampering the dovetailing of our heart and our head? And that's the ultimate meaning of it, is that we are not smarter than the divine. The ego would have you believe that. The ego would have you believe that we've cracked the code. We know, right? And what do quantum physicists tell us? That every time we think we have the building blocks, there's smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller building blocks. And now, with the new particle accelerator at CERN, they're all pretty sure that they're going to get to the point where it's just vibration. So I guess the question that I would leave on is, what philosophical wardrobes do you have that you clothe yourself in? What philosophical outfits do you wrap yourselves in? Where the crowd is going, you better cover up that opinion, you better cover up that attitude, the attitude of believing you can have whatever you want, the attitude of believing that you can be whatever you want to be, the attitude of believing you are, within you is contained everything you've ever needed, you've always had. When it comes to happiness, when it comes to fulfillment, Love the chop blocking. I know, Marcellus, it's great, isn't it? Henry says, ego places the creature in a position of arrogance to question the creator. Amen, if I could use the term. Instead of questioning itself. Because how could the creator be wrong, Henry? And the ego cannot accept being wrong. So maybe this is the question to end with. What percentage today of your true self or your troll self, what percentage today will you be committed to? What percentage today will you tolerate? When it comes to your true self or your troll self, what percentage are you going to tolerate? What are you going to put up with from yourself? Because ultimately, as we say, we're going to be targeted by fate, the cut and shuffle of fate, right? The slings and arrows, Shakespeare, slings and arrows. We're in. What we can control is our counterpunch. What we can control is how we're going to react to fate trying to chop block us. How we can react, how we can cover the counterpunch is to ask ourselves, what philosophical wardrobes do I clothe myself in that keeps me, that muffles the wisdom of putting my heart's highest priority top of my list? What's the percentage going to be today between your true self and your troll self? All right, we got to go ahead and get out of here. Thank you all so very much. And again, I'll work on the focus. I just got to show you one more time. I'll work on the focus of the camera. Oh, it's somewhat back. Oh, you know what it is, I'll bet? When I turn on the flashing light, I'll bet you it knocks it out of focus, doesn't it? Let's just see real quick. Not too bad. Yeah, that's what it is. It doesn't know what to focus on. Okay, so maybe we'll do that. But you'll get an idea. So today I'll ask you. Thank you, Henry, very much. Again, I ask, what percentage are you going to be? True self, troll self, it's a balance, right? The scales. You make the call. Marcellus, thank you so very much. Henry, thank you. Super appreciate your input. Abby, thanks for joining us. John and Alan and Dana Lee, thank you so. Dana Lee, please tell Gabriel I said howdy. Thank you so very much for joining us here on All Natural Being. Thursday, is today Thursday? So Thursday night. So if you're already an All Natural Being member, we'll be doing a webinar at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. So I'm excited to share with you. And if not, then we will see you back here bright and early tomorrow morning. Marcellus says, thanks, Henry. Example. Lucifer was one of the most beautiful of angels, but his ego got him cast out. Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, my friends, have a fantastic day, and I'll look forward to being with you bright and early tomorrow morning. Thank you so very much for joining us here on All Natural Being.
IPMNation.com